Mr. President of the Portuguese Parliament, Mrs. Minister for Foreign Affairs and for Finance, Mr. Secretary of State, Mr. Governor of the Bank of Portugal and Vice Governor, Mrs. Governors and Chairmen of central banks, ladies and gentlemen, dear President Draghi. You took office as President of the European Central Bank in 2011. It was a period of deep economic and financial adversity for Europe, as Europe was experiencing the peak of the sovereign debt crisis. Nevertheless, the response of the ECB in defense of the European financial stability, as well as the single currency, have made a significant contribution to successfully overcome these difficulties. Your sound knowledge and background, coupled with extensive practical experience, but above all, your belief in the European project and your political courage, made it possible to implement such important measures whose success is visible and widely recognized. As you mentioned when you attended at my invitation in 2016, the meeting of our State Council, the performance of the monetary policy, which was put in place by the European Central Bank, boosted the European economies, not only those of the single currency, but also of the whole European Union. Important changes have been made meanwhile at European economic governance level by reinforcing the credibility of the European project. Despite the difficulties faced by some countries during the economic and financial crisis, the progress made at national and supranational levels was crucial for confidence in the single currency. The European Union should continue to work to strengthen economic and social cohesion, strengthening integration, and at the same time, European institutions. Improving European competitiveness is today, more than in the past, vital to promote economic growth in the euro area and European Union countries, and therefore improve the welfare for the European citizens. Your role was central to overcome the crisis and to create conditions for a stronger European economy. Your performance as President of the ECB was outstanding. It is therefore a great pleasure and an honor for me to give you this award, which translates our recognition for your mandate as President of the European Central Bank over the last few years, and for all you have done for Europe and for the Eurozone, and most of all, for the Europeans and for the world, because anyone knowing history understands why Europe is so important for the balance of powers in the world.
Well, Mr. President, let me say how honored I am today by your decoration and also by your words. And I'm very, very thankful for what you said and for this award. But there is also another reason why I feel today extremely pleased by this event. I'm at the end of my mandate, and my 8 years coincided with the history of Portugal in a variety of ways. And in a sense, for Portugal, it's, I would say, the end of a long and painful journey. And now the country is solidly on the road to growth, maintained prosperity. And there is one main reason why all this has taken place, and that's the spirit with which Portugal went into the European integration. If we look at the history is marked by very difficult starting time, the crisis, existential threats to the banking system, a series of macroeconomic crises. But there is one thing that, at least from an outsider's eyes, never changes. And never changes regardless of what government would be here. And that's the sense of ownership. Ownership of the integration, the spirit of integration. It's something unforgettable for, I think, all of us. And that is when, a few years ago, I can't remember exactly which year, but it was on the verge of the elections, the two parties decided that no matter what the outcome of the election would be, they would respect the program that they had negotiated with the European Commission. So that is a striking moment because, to my knowledge, didn't happen elsewhere, and I don't think it ever happened, in fact, with any European country. So this is what is particularly impressive. This is what makes me extremely pleased today, that Portugal is a symbol of what European integration is. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.